Everyone tells you to pick a niche, pick a problem, solve that problem. Heck, I've even done that. But it's incomplete because it doesn't tell you the mission that God called you to lead. And you, as a transformative leader, you are called by God, and you likely know this. You're called by God to lead a mission. And so I'm going to show you how really getting in tune with the movement, the world that God called you to lead, how that's going to be so much better at freeing you and building your tribe, building and bringing in the people that really want to be a part of what you're building. And it's going to solve the problem of feeling boxed in. It's going to help the right clients, the right customers, the right people want to be a part of your world. And so this is bigger than just a niche, right? And the language that has kind of explained this, but has only been a step, has been the niche is you. The niche is you is only a step on the ladder. Because yes, the niche is you. What it does do is it helps you to see you don't have to cut off parts of yourself, right? And this is the big thing when people are just niching intellectually. They feel like, oh man, I love writing poetry. I know I want to focus on helping people with relationships, but I also want to bring in this somatic work, and I also want to bring in my love of, I don't know, breath work or performance or whatever it is, right? Now, what you will see is that these different things that you have curiosity around, that you've had to learn, right? What you will see is that all those different things have helped you to grow in some way, right? And you have your unique mission, your unique things you're working towards. And so you being able to combine those different things, of course, allows you to feel more free, because it allows you to feel like you can just be yourself. But that's just one step, because it doesn't give as much direction. The niche is you frees you, but it doesn't do as good of a job giving you the clarity on the world you are building for your people. And so that's why I feel like being able to get clear on, not just the niche, not just the fact that the niche is you, but the fact that you are called to lead a transformation, you are called to lead a movement, you are called to build a world, right? And what that allows you to do when you get that level of clarity is, yes, it's fun. Yes, you get to tell stories. Yes, you get to lead people on a journey. But beyond that, what you get is even clearer connection to source. You get even clearer connection to the undercurrent of the decisions you're making, the offers you're creating. There's a really clear connection to why this matters. Why this matters, right? And I love when Steve Jobs said that that's something that he reminded his people every day, like, why this matters. Are we just building computers? Are we just doing, no, why does it matter, right? And when you're connected to your movement, you're connected to source, you're connected to that guidance, you're connected to why it matters. And then when you bring in the strategic, the marketing part of it, what it does is it also helps your people see like, ooh, that's for me, because we want to be a part of tribes. We're meant to connect. We're looking for the people that are like, this is what we want, right? And so there's a couple of really beautiful parts of this. And a big part of this is my divine mechanics method that really allows us to combine these different parts. With divine mechanics, right, it's really about helping you to see your divinity, collapse patterns, and apply sacred systems. Okay. Now, really, what I want to start off with is this first part, which is really allowing you to see your soul blueprint and why this matters and how this can be applied to your movement. Okay. So, a lot of the ways people go about thinking about your niche is can be very intellectual. It's like, what do you like? What do you people want, right? But when you look at your design, as well as when you look at your astrological chart, as well as when you look at your key transformations, there's a map being created, right? There's different connection points, right? That help you see like, oh, okay, wow, these are ways that I am called to help people transform, right? And so one of the biggest things, right, for really being able to see your soul blueprint, I like to combine your story, human design, and astrology. But just if you are reflecting on it, you can think about really, really key transformations, right? And so if I was to use myself, right, I know some of my biggest transformations has been moving through people pleasing patterns, right? I also know a lot of my transformations have been reconnecting with my body, reconnected with the somatics of my body. I also know really key transformations were seeing my ability to have an idea and use social media to use email marketing to build community, right? And so there are these key transformations, these key skills that I learned, and similar to you, there's these key transformations you've had, right? So maybe you are focusing on, maybe you're really good at building personal brands, right? Or maybe you are feeling really called to help women or to help men, right? That's definitely a direction, but there are things that you've gone through. Maybe you've gone through certain addictions, right? Maybe you have had certain like pains with your your cycle if you're a woman, right? Or maybe you were part of like really dysfunctional patterns, right? Maybe you had avoidance tendencies or anxious tendencies in relationships that you've been able to move through, right? So your key transformations are going to really be helpful at you seeing how you're here to help people, right? And the movement that you're here to build. Because the big thing about a movement is someone wants to go from point A to point B, right? There's a direction that we are going in, right? But another thing that's really powerful, especially if we look at astrology, a rising sign, right? This can help to see like what's the vibe that your brain gives off visually, energetically, right? So really helping you to be able to attract your people. Your midhaven can help you clearly see what is the mission you're here to build? What's the movement you're here to build, right? And there's so much more that our chart can show us, about the movement we're here to build, the world that we are here to build, right? And so we've already got these guidance. We already have this guidance that our body is giving us, but also these systems, right? The stars, the way things have been organized, have already put on our soul specific missions and movements that we are here to lead. And so it's much more effective to heed to that because of the freedom it allows you and the alignment that it gives you than to be out here just intellectually forcing what we think is supposed to be the niche. Now, another beautiful thing when you are connected in this way to the world that you want to build, there's this excitement that comes because it's like, oh my gosh, like you really get to play. You really get to see. That's something that Virgil Abloh really showed me. He's one of my favorite mentors. And he really showed me that we are the ones that create culture, but it's about the world that we build. That world that we build allows us to shape culture. Now with that call to lead, your fears are going to come up, your doubts are going to come up, and this is important, right? Because in this, you are going to be able to, of course, heal, expand, work through all these patterns, but you're also going to be able to see, oh my gosh, I'm really here for God. I'm really here to serve. And that clarity really comes when you are stepping into, I'm going to build this world, right? And when it comes to divine mechanics, this is where pattern alchemy really comes in, right? This is where we're able to use the resistance, right? And turn that resistance into visibility, into power, into embodiment. But the only way that that's possible is if we really say, hey, I surrender to how I'm being called to serve. I surrender to this mission, to this movement, to this thing that's bigger than me. And in that process, we're going to be able to see the patterns that don't line up, right? And the beauty of this is that when you see the patterns that don't line up, when you see, hey, I'm going to bed at this time, and I know that it's important for me to show up at this way for me to lead, right? Or I'm watching porn, or I'm doom scrolling, or I'm doing these things that I know are not in alignment with how I'm being called to serve. that I know are distractions, me leaking my power, because this is a grand old mission. And I've been there. You know what I mean? I've had times where, I'm leading the mission and God is like, you got to stop smoking weed. And so what do I have to do? I have to go and I have to throw the weed away. Or like, you got to stop randomly giving out your sexual energy. You need better sexual hygiene. You're leaking your power, you're leaking your magnetism, right? These are messages that I've gotten. And it's kind of easier to repeat the pattern if you're less in tune with source, if you're less in tune with, yo, we got work to do, right? But when you really see the world that you're here to build, not only does it give you direction, it gives you momentum, but it helps you see that like the fears and all that, they aren't real. Those old identities, they aren't real. They aren't really who you are, because at your core structure, you see that, okay, who am I? This is who I am at my core. I am this type of movement leader at my core. And once you see that, the beauty of pattern alchemy is, with this awareness, when we can see the patterns, when we can see how we're being called, we're able to step out. We're able to be in that driver's seat, and we're able to step out of the looping patterns, the looping distractions, because we're able to see, hey, this is not me. So in this moment, I can align with my true self. And the beauty of this is, when you have that level of integrity, your people want to be with you, because they see, wow, all right, I see it and I feel it, that you're in alignment, that that we're building this world together. And so that's such a beauty of the movement, is that it's a mirror. It pushes you to see the patterns that aren't in alignment, right? And then with pattern alchemy, we can collapse those things. We can see where does the trigger come from, where is the distortion, where is the contradiction, and we can evolve the identity, and we can transmute what is not serving. Now, of course, the awareness part is immediate, right? But often after the awareness, what I've seen is that there's a somatic release, right? And so in my work with people, I'm bringing in somatic experiencing, I'm bringing in the hypnosis, but a lot of this is going to start with the awareness of, wow, this is the pattern I'm in, and this pattern is not serving God. This pattern is not serving my movement. This pattern is not serving my people. And that allows for, because you can feel the weight of that. Okay. And so the last part of the divine mechanics that I want to bring in when it comes to building a movement is sacred systems, right? Designing beautiful, resonant prospect and client journeys, right? When you're building a world, the cool thing when you're building a world, when you're building a movement, is that you get to decide what is in this world. What does this world feel like? What does this world have? How are my people feeling? And then being able to, of course, leverage AI, leverage automations to help things be even more streamlined in your world. Okay. So some of the big things, the big questions that are helpful to think about when you're creating your movement is, when you think about your mission, is you can just think about, what season are you in right now, right? And so I want to talk practically about how you can apply this to yourself, and then also share briefly what this can look like, in regards to some of the clients that I've worked with. So when you think about your mission, you can think about, what season are you in? And this is going to be really helpful, because it creates a narrative arc. It creates a story. It creates something that your content becomes more than just a piece of writing, more than just a video, right? Your content is almost like you're creating your own Netflix show. You're taking people on a journey. So we talked a lot about how it creates freedom for you, but now it's also creating more engagement, because it's not just like you're some guru speaking at your people. It's there's momentum, there's movement, there's seasons, right? And so personally for me, the season that I'm in this moment, is be an icon. And a lot of being an icon for me is recognizing your soul's blueprint and collapsing patterns, right? But for you, your particular season that you're in is going to be something different, right? But when you can communicate that season, and when you can use that narrative to help build your world, now people are bought in. Can you think about a brand that you love? Can you think about anything that you love? A part of why you love it is because of the story it's telling. It's because of what it means for you, how you identify with it, right? There's a reason why people line up for Apple products. It's because of the story that they told, right? It's about innovation. It's about being different. It's about being willing to make everything matter, make everything beautiful, right? And I always used to watch Nike ads, and other brands have caught on, But the difference is Nike ads always used to tell a story. And I'd be like, this is so much better than what X brand is doing. Now the other brands have caught on and they're actually telling stories now too. But I would always see before and I'd be like, why is this brand just telling me that they have a pump in the shoe? Why don't they make me feel something, create a world, right? And that is what you have the ability to do when you are building a movement and when you answer the question, what season are you in? And then the next thing is how, why does this narrative lead your people to your solution, right? So you do want to get clear on like what is, the solution that you're helping people with, right? But I think what's so cool is that when you add the narrative arc to it, you activate people because they see the level of urgency, right? Without the story and without the clarity of the movement, it's harder to see the level of urgency. But when you see, fuck, the world is going through this, people are going through this, you're suffering in these ways, this is what's happening, we need to do something about this now, it creates a level of urgency, right? And so then that brings me to the next part, which I think is so beautiful when you create these worlds, is that your assets get to feed each other, right? One creation helps to build trust and lead people to your other creations, right? And so if I think about a couple of my clients that I've worked with, one person I'll bring up is Junaid, right? And so when Junaid came to work with me, he had an idea for a community. He had an idea for uh, he had an idea for a community, but he really wanted guidance on what would be the kind of the most effective way to go about this, right? And so basically what I helped him build is a way that we started back, we started from the end with his highest level mentorship offer. And then we use that to get clear on the A to B journey that this person's going through. And then we use that to decide how does the community fit into the overall world so that the community is building trust for people to want to go deeper, right? And then we added an intermediary step that would allow people to build even more trust if they weren't ready to go, to the highest level, right? And then we also, from the end result of the main product, we were able to see, from the end result of the main mentorship offer, we were able to see, okay, what lead magnets make sense, what low ticket products made sense, right? And that's something that Nino and I were able to do together as well. Now, the big thing here that I want to point out is that a lot of the times we treat our products like they're separate business, right? And this does a disservice to you because you're building a movement. You need the momentum of the different things as a part of your movement. But when you have a movement, it's easier to see the through line of these things, right? It's not just a niche. It's not just a business, it's a movement, and all these things are contributing to the movement, right? But then in addition to that, when you're able to design your movement in a way where the offers are creating your world, you can design it in a way where like, ooh, when this person enters into your lead magnet, it's almost like they're entering into a beautiful hotel and they're getting greeted in their way, right? And then maybe they're being guided to the room and they're being guided to the amenities and they're being guided to the full experience. And so each part of your journey allows you to guide people to the full experience, which of course increases the lifetime value of the customer because they're able to see more reasons why it would make sense for them to buy from you multiple times. But it also increases the impact you can have on that person because you're able to go deeper in the person with the right people in a resonant way. You're able to take them from one offer to another offer to another offer in a way that makes sense. And you're able to, for yourself, see, okay, what's necessary as the next step for this movement. Okay, if I'm helping people with, and I'm thinking about one of my former clients, if I'm helping people move through gut issues, what we might see is that the gut issues are connected to their emotions. And so then there's this next step of this emotional work. And then we might see that once they get their freedom back, they actually want to create, they actually want to focus on, manifestation or creation or designing something that is no longer from suffering, but it's from thriving. So there's these different steps and there's this whole world that you can build. And sometimes it's hard to explain that, but when you connect it to a movement, when you connect it to why, it becomes easy to explain because you and your people see this is where we need to go. And what I love about this is that it's not just an intellectual thing. It's literally your assignment. It's your assignment. You are a transformational leader and you are assigned to guide people in this way. Okay, so if any of this resonated with you, there's a button below where you can apply for a strategy call where we'll be able to talk more about your movement, your positioning, as well as the systems that will be beneficial for you, and see if there's alignment for both of us to work more closely together. Okay, I look forward to seeing you on the other side.